Today, I am going to be teaching you how to create these custom backgrounds. From this video, you will learn the effects and techniques that will help you design your own unique styles. Let's get straight into it. So the first thing we're going to be doing is creating a new composition. So you can call this composition whatever you want. I'm just going to call it background 1. And then just make sure you have these settings in. So we want to make sure it's portrait, so it's an 80 by 1920, 30 frames per second, 3D render is classic 3D, and you should be good to go. Now, once we're here, we're going to press Ctrl Y to add the new solid. Doesn't matter what color the solid is, just make sure the width and the height is 1080 by 1920. Press OK. Now, here, we're just going to add the gradient ramp effect. We're going to keep these settings. We're just going to, let's see, move this a bit down maybe. So we're going to change the top to black and then the bottom to a bit of a darkish red. Even the top maybe not too black. Bit of red. So yeah, like something like this. And then maybe this like that. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so once we have this, we're going to go to this and add the Venetian blinds effect. If I can. So yeah, we're going to make this like 20, let's say. So it's going to add these lines. 20, and then I'm just going to move it to like a 30-degree angle. So it comes out like that. And yeah, that basically looks good. 15. Let's make it 17. That looks pretty good as well. And what I like to do is whenever I add the Venetian's blind effect, I like to add a black solid right under it. So the reason I'm doing this is because if, let's say, I turn off the black solid under it, and then I toggle the transparency, the Venetian's blinds actually acts as a transparent like layer, I guess. So when I have transparency on and I have the black solid under it, you see, it basically removes this transparency layer. So once we're done with this, now the final part is basically adding those lines. So I'm just gonna add a line kind of like this, let's say. So I'm gonna choose a tool pen. We're gonna go up here, we're gonna go over here, we're gonna add a bit of a curve. Actually, wait, I'm gonna go up here, go down here, and then yeah, something like this. I think that looks good. Now for the line, we're basically gonna add the dashes. So to add the dashes, you're gonna just go down here and in contents. We're gonna open stroke right here under dashes. So when you press the arrow, nothing's gonna show up because you're gonna have to press this plus button. So you're gonna press it twice, one for a dash, and then the other one is gonna show the gap. So once you have this, so this it looks okay, but I feel like we can make it look a bit better. We're gonna, I think, yeah, making the dash like, let's say around 50. 50 looks good, and then increasing the gaps just a tiny bit, 20. Then you can even change the stroke width over up here. So you can make it like pretty thin, or we're gonna make it like pretty thick. But I think like 13 looks pretty good. So now this looks good. Now what we have to do is just have to animate it. And to animate it, we're just gonna press. We're gonna be using the offset button, because if you see here, if I'm moving the offset, it basically gives it this animation. So I'm gonna go to the start of the timeline, press on the stopwatch, and then move all the way to the end, and then add like, let's try 100. So let's see. Yeah, that's a bit too slow. So maybe go to the last keyframe and change it to like 150. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe even a bit faster, so like 175, right in the middle. Yeah, I like this. This looks pretty good. Because basically, when you have this background, you don't want this to be like too distracting. So if it's too fast, it's gonna distract the viewer from whatever is in the middle of this background. So I think this is a good speed. So yeah, basically this looks good. Now we're just gonna basically do the same thing in the top right corner. So take the pen, I'm gonna press here and then press and hold, and then go down here and then go up here and then end it here. And yeah, I mean that looks pretty good. We're just gonna go down here. Easy thing you can do is you can go down here. I think it's press on stroke, Control C. Yeah, so you press Control C. So you can go to your first shape layer, press Control C on stroke, and then go to the stroke on the shape layer, the second shape layer, and press Control V. And then it'll basically copy the same stroke. So now we're just gonna have to add the. It even added the keyframes, but I messed it up. So we're gonna start from here from 0 and then go all the way to the end. So 175. Now should be good to go. Yep. So now we're just gonna now add the effects. So first thing we're gonna add is the drop shadow effect to the dashes. So go drop shadow, and then we're gonna make this 80, the distance 30, and the softness around like 80 as well. No, that's too much. Maybe like 45. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Then we're just gonna copy the drop shadow from this layer and just paste it on the second layer. And now finally, for the last thing, we're gonna add a adjustment layer. And then here, we're gonna add deep glow. This is a bit too strong, so we're just gonna take it a bit down to like 0.03, and then maybe even decrease the radius a bit. So this will look like this with deep glow, without deep glow. So that's pretty good. And then also a nice effect you can add is the noise effect. Just make it like 8%. And then maybe even remove the use color noise. And yeah, that's your first background done. Okay, so now for the second background, it's gonna be exactly the same thing, but we're just gonna change the gradient ramp a bit, and we're gonna make the color blue. So again, go to composition, we're gonna call this BG2. Again, same settings. And we're gonna press Control Y. We're gonna add any solid color, but then we're gonna add the gradient ramp effect to it. And then here on the ramp shape, just change it to radial ramp, and then move this controller here all the way in the middle. So move in the middle and then move this controller a bit out. So it looks something like this. See. So then in this black layer, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna swap. So the black is gonna be on the outside, so it looks like a vignette. And in the middle, the white, we're gonna change it to a darkish blue color, something like this. Then maybe even move the black a bit, this controller down a bit. I think that looks pretty good. And then don't forget, since we're going to be using deep glow at the end, it's going to make the colors a bit more bright. So it's actually pretty good if you have the colors a bit darker in the beginning. So we're going to have something like this. So I think that looks pretty good. So now, again, same thing. We're just going to add the Venetian blind effect. Take it up to like 20. That's pretty good. And then the width to like 15. And then we're going to add another black solid right behind it. Again, this is for transparency, to remove the transparency layer. So yeah, it looks pretty good. And then finally, again, we're just going to add the same adjustments layer. So I'm just going to copy this adjustment layer from the first background and just paste it on top of the one we have right now. But this time I think I'm going to change the amount of noise to like 6%. And then the Venetian's blind, maybe increase it to like 28%. And yeah, basically have this, it looks pretty good. And that's your second background layer. So again, just go back to the project, and then we're gonna call this background 3. Same thing, same settings. But now we're gonna add a solid layer, Control Y, add a solid layer, doesn't matter. We're gonna go here, we're gonna add the gradient ramp, and then we're gonna change it again from linear lamp to radial ramp, and we're gonna move this controller to the middle. We're gonna move this one a bit outwards like this, and then we're gonna swap the colors and then make the white again a bluish color, maybe even like a different shade of blue like this. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe even move the black a bit up. I think that looks pretty good. And then here, what we're gonna basically do is we're gonna add the Venetian blinds effect. We're gonna start by going to the pen tool, and instead of stroke, we're gonna turn the stroke off. Then we're gonna go to fill and turn the fill on. And we're also gonna change the fill to like a bluish, like a dark bluish color. And once you have this, just go in here, start creating like a weird like shape like this. And yeah, let's move it a bit in front. So that looks pretty good to me. So what you can do is you can come back up. You can actually go into this and add another gradient ramp on it. And then we're gonna basically do the same thing. We're gonna color both of them blue. So just like this. So we're gonna make one a darker blue and then one a lighter blue. We're just gonna move this, and then we're gonna make the lighter color down, so it adds kind of like a nice effect to it, nice depth, like adds like a shadow. So something like this. I think this looks pretty good. So now we're gonna add another one here. We're gonna go here. Just create something like this. Maybe move this a bit more down. So this also looks pretty good. We're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna go copy the same gradient ramp and paste it on this one. Just gonna move this down like that. Just a bit up. So looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. And then we're gonna add one more at the bottom left corner. So something like this. Something like this. And then again, just copy this gradient ramp and paste it on the last one. We're just gonna move this as well. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So now we want them to kind of like float around. So to do this, just go in here, go to open position, so press P, and then for the position stopwatch, hold Alt and then press on stopwatch, and the expression box is gonna open up. So just here type in wiggle, WIG, and then in the middle just type in 0.5 comma 1. Well, actually not 1, sorry, 0.5 20. Yeah, so you can see it move now. It's floating around. So depending on how strong you want it, so if you want it to, let's say, move a bit faster, you would change the first part of this expression. So if you made this, for example, 10, it's gonna move really fast. It's gonna be like jittery. And then to make it slow, we can put it again like 1. But I think 1 is a bit too fast as well, so maybe like 0.7 works. I think that's pretty good. And then basically copy this and then go to these other shape layers. So hold Alt and press on stopwatch again, Control V, and then same thing with the last one. And now all of them are just gonna move like this. So it looks pretty good. So that looks pretty good. What we can do now as well is add drop shadows to each of them. So just add a drop shadow. We're gonna make it the opacity 60, and then the distance 40, and then softness like 50. Or even, we're actually gonna make the softness 70 and turn this down to 50. Then I'm just gonna copy this drop shadow and paste it on the other two layers. So it looks something like this. And yeah, we're almost done. Now just go, we're gonna add the same adjustment layer as before. Just paste it on top. And yeah, basically looks like this now. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want more tutorials like this, just like and subscribe and comment what kind of video you guys want to see. Also, click on the video on the screen right now if you want to learn how to create faceless edits.